Democrats. That is not my understanding, because I would have took the lead on that particular negotiation. Let me be exceptionally clear. The same-sex marriage that I support is not and never was a black caucus issue. What black elected officials fight for down here is very consistent. We need jobs in our community, we need quality health care, and we need the best school systems ever. Same-sex marriage has never been an issue for us. That's not the conversational tenor in our particular caucus or our community. The other piece is there are 98 members out of 118 members. We're 20 of 118.
Not a critical 20, but a block, but a critical 20 when you talk about a vote discourse.
Yes, especially if you get the downstaters to come on board, if you get those rural legislators, Republican or Democrat, if you get those suburbanites up north to come on board to get a simple 60 votes. So this is not the Black Caucus's burden issue. And I asked Greg Harris, I said I would work with you. He needs to work every member as if they're not on board or they are on board. You have to ask folks for their vote. We fought for the Senate Bill 26, which expanded Medicaid, helped our particular counties and our cities, but we shouldn't be wearing the jacket for this here. That would be unfair and disingenuous to have the Black Caucus wear the jacket, because you have 71 Democrats.
Representative Harris used the phrase "eyes on the prize." Do you see the same-sex marriage, the people who want same-sex marriage, as a civil rights issue?
No. This is an equal rights issue here in the state of Illinois for all of our citizens. Thank you, Charles. This is not anything more than just that. It is, which I believe in, equal protection and equal rights for every citizen here in this state. And I will fight to that until I leave this place. I think that may have actually offended African American legislators, for that to be equated. Keep in mind some of the atrocities here in this country for 400 years. Traveling the bowels of ships, you're laying down and sitting down in your feces and your urine. Black folk being hung by trees, being castrated, being summarily and openly discriminated against. So some members probably have a real strong time with that. So it's an equal protection, equal rights issue here in the state. And all of us have to take responsibility for it as legislators. All I know is that there are 71 Democrats here. There are 118 members. There are only 20 black elected officials. And this has never been a caucus issue. We discussed this. And I said, vote your district.
Mr. Duncan,
can never really been a caucus issue. There were several meetings yesterday among you, and even today there were several meetings throughout the day where it appears like the topic was what way the caucus was voting.
Which caucus? The downstate caucus or the Latino caucus?
The Black Caucus, your group, the Black Caucus in general.
Well, there are several caucuses here, right? The Latino caucus could have been on board with this 100%. The downstate caucus, which is a large caucus as well, why weren't they on this? There are gays in Sparta, Illinois. There are gays in Litchfield, Illinois, in Champaign, Illinois, in Pike County, in Macoupin County. They have to address this issue as well.
Why do you think then that the storyline has, you read the papers, you've seen that the storyline is, and I think you are aware of that based on what you're saying, you don't want to wear the jacket, you don't think the Black Caucus should wear the jacket. Why has the storyline evolved that it's black ministers calling their members, putting pressure on, they're afraid of primaries? Why do you think it's evolved that way? And why is that wrong, in your opinion?
Well, the ministers putting pressure on everyone. Maybe that's why the votes weren't there today, because downstate ministers, rabbis, and imams were probably calling members all across the state. That has to be the case. But somehow, it's the sensationalization of black leadership or black ministers, black elected officials that's sexy to the media. In order for them to say, oh, okay, we're used to the black vote being taken for granted in general within the Democratic Party. Oh, they'll vote for it. whatever we put in front of them. That's not the case here with this group. The group that I happen to chair and lead is a very intelligent group. It's a very progressive group on one hand, and in some respects a very conservative group. But there are also real responsibilities that our downstate colleagues have to pick up the mantle on. They really have to be forthright in doing the right thing for all citizens. And so we're not talked about when it comes to the pension. Black Caucus is never mentioned. We weren't talking about this when it came to the Affordable Care Act. Black Caucus wasn't mentioned with that. We weren't talked about on conceal and carry. So the issue of same-sex marriage is really unfair, and it's unfortunate. I'm willing to also say that had that vote been up, I think you would have had a 5 to 7 swing vote of members in the Downstate Caucus and the Suburban Caucus and the White Sox Caucus and the Republican Caucus and the Democratic Caucus that would have put this bill over. I truly believe that.
Well, then why didn't they call the vote?
That's a very good question. Apparently, Greg, I guess he didn't feel as if he had the votes. It's my belief of being here 11 years that would have been the case. When you make a passionate plea on that microphone, on the House floor, people listen. You would have had everyone's attention on this particular issue, Tracy, and we would have seen a situation where 5 to 7 members would have said, you know what, enough of this. This is the right thing to do, and I'm going to live by what the 14th Amendment wants to do in making sure that equal protection and rights for citizens under the Constitution of the United States. And we would have came in line with places like Iowa, places like Maryland, etc.
Do you think that any of the members did ask Greg for cover to delay it so that they could go back to their districts? That's what he said happened. Do you think people did ask for a delay?
I hope he's not referring to Black Caucus members. I think that that would be very unfortunate. And
he just said generally. He did not say.
Right, because caucus members are not happy that the media is playing up our influence on this particular issue. I mean, we're a powerful group, yes, largest caucus here, but there are other issues that we can talk about. And for the life of me, I just don't know why he felt strong that he didn't have the numbers.
So you didn't, no one that you know of in the Black Caucus asked for a delayed vote?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I insisted or pushed them and could try to cajole them. Like, Greg, you need to call this. You're going to wake up certain folk in certain communities. They'll be paying attention to this here. We should have hit this bill almost immediately after the Senate passed it. When the iron was hot, we should have ran as fast as we could to do the right thing, put this on the floor. It would have zoomed out of here. Now, again, this is my particular political calculations and opinion on how this thing would have came about. And I think there's another opportunity for that to happen.
Okay, terrific.